Hello everyone, this is Professor C and welcome to Dauntless. This is an open beta game heavily inspired by Monster Hunter, where you fight giant creatures called behemoths. As I said, this game is an open beta, and it is online, where you play with up to 3 other people to fight these behemoths. In this episode, I will be covering the user interface, or UI, as well as the basics of combat, so that you will understand what exactly... so you will know what you're seeing while I play. Following that, I will also be talking about the hub world in this episode. Following that, I will be fighting the first challengeable monster in the game from the monster select screen. Then, I will face it 5 more times, going in-depth on the weapons themselves. Once I get past the tutorial stuff, I will be going through each behemoth chronologically, and trying to beat it by myself with each of the 5 weapons. This is mostly a self-imposed challenge. At some point, I will have to call on other people for help, be it strangers or my cousins. So, first off, the hub world. Any of these bulletin boards around lead you to the monster select screen. I will show you the hub world later. Not the hub world, the queue area. These are the core breakers. You collect cores throughout the game in a way that I'll go into later. I'll go into detail with later. And that's where you open those. There are multiple different crafting stations. This is the closest one, the bosun. You collect materials on the islands where you fight the behemoths. You then take them to the bosun to exchange them for tonics and pylons.
Oh, off you go then.
You can equip these, and you can see which ones I have equipped on the bottom right. This will also be part of the UI later on in the game, or later on in this episode.
You're a sight for sore Austrian
Next is Will's, the weaponsmith. You spend notes, which are the currency of this game, as well as Arcanite, which is an exclusive currency to weapons or armor specifically. There are different Arcanite for weapon and armor, as well as parts collected from behemoths, which will appear a little bit later, to create weapons and armor in the case of Moira, the armor smith.
Hey, it's you!
These parts are specific to the monster that you're crafting them for, so you know exactly what monster you need to go fight when you are trying to create a certain set.
Get them before they get you.
This is Archon.
The latest readings don't
Smith.
bode well.
Here you create lanterns. You start off with the recruit lantern, but you can gain more throughout
Farewell
the game.
to you, Slayer.
The lanterns I will cover in the user interface lesson. Finally, just recently added in the latest expansion to the game, is Admiral Zai, the commander of this burning ship. He sells something else that takes up the potion slot.
1 moment, please.
Grenades. Crafting 1, expending the materials gives you 2 grenades instead of 1.
Remain alert, Slayer.
But besides that, it works exactly the same as the bosun. Now I will be going into the first area just to show you the queue area and to show you the basics. basics of both combat and the UI. This is the Curia. You can change your stuff, and you can look at what stuff other people have. And I should note, as I go through the behemoths, I will only be using the best that you can have when you reach them, which is why I'm using wimpy stuff. I have beaten heroic creatures, the hardest area of the game. I am not new to this, so I know what I'm talking about. Just that I want to make it seem like I don't want to make it seem like I'm ridiculously overpowered when facing the super easy behemoths. This is the first island of the game. As you can see on the middle right, there is a timer. You have a 30-second... You have 30 minutes to defeat the behemoths. The bottom right is the potions menu. The top is always healing potions. You cannot remove the healing potions, and you always have 5 of them. When you die, those 5 potions are replaced by 1 auto-revive. You can also be revived by other players, helping you with a cooldown. Or a progress bar. Top right, the upside down triangle that is at 2%. That is your danger meter. It slowly builds up over time, and it builds up a little bit when you get damaged, and it builds up a lot when someone dies. Once it reaches maximum, revives from other people are disabled, self-revives are not disabled, and the behemoth does more damage until one of 3 things happen. 1, you chase the behemoth to a new area of the map. 2, you kill the behemoth. Or 3, everyone dies. Top left, there are 4 meters. The green is the health. Self-explanatory, you lose it when you get hit by behemoths. When you reach 0, you die. You have 1000 health in this game. And then you have the stamina meter. You lose stamina in 3 ways. 1, through certain attacks. You consume stamina. 2, using a dodge maneuver expends a decent amount of stamina. And 3, sprinting with your weapon unsheathed. You can sheath your weapon using an action, and when you are not expending stamina, you regain stamina. The bar at the bottom is the overdrive or special meter. That changes depending on the weapon, and I will go more in depth to that when I talk about the individual weapons. On the left, which has the rectangle and a circle, the rectangle is the instant, the circle, which builds when I collect this, or when I do damage to the behemoths, is the hold. All lanterns, except for the recruit's lantern, have an instant, and all lanterns, including the recruit's, have a hold. The instant, you just tap the button and it recharges over time. The hold ability, you recharge by doing damage or collecting those things on the ground. There are multiple different types of materials that you can collect here, and then you exchange them in the hub world at the bosun or at Admiral Zai's place. Then the basics of combat. This can seem very overwhelming. I will admit, when I first looked at this, I had no idea what I was looking at. Don't worry about the combos area, I will explain that each in its own video when I review the weapons. All you need to know for now, on the top half of the screen, is the light, heavy, and overdrive buttons. Light attacks are faster than heavy attacks, but do less damage than heavy attacks. And the light attacks build the special or overdrive meter faster than heavy attacks. The overdrive or special attack changes depending on the weapon, and I will be going more in depth to those when I do the weapons. At the bottom, you have the damage text legend, which describes the 4 types of damage, which have their own colors and symbols. Yellow is part damage. Each behemoth has parts that you have to break, and a little bit later on in the game, they drop what are called break parts. When they drop break parts, you have to collect them, and then after that part is broken, you will do the second type, which is basic damage. That just dictates how much damage you do. Nothing else about it. Stagger damage. Each behemoth has a stagger quota, which you build by attacking the head or the limbs.
Listen up! This is important.
This guy will tell you to keep your eye on the timer pretty much every match. But with the stagger damage, when you meet or exceed the stagger quota, the behemoth becomes staggered, which is a state where they just sit there and do nothing, where you can just do either part or basic damage to them. And then wound damage comes up very rarely, but it is important. Here, each part on the behemoth has its own wound quota. And after you do enough wound damage to those parts, you create an open wound, which is dictated by a glowing spot on that part. You do, I believe, 30% extra part damage to that part. You do not do wound damage if a part is already broken. So that is the basics of Dauntless, and next episode I will be taking on the behemoth in this area. So, we are excited for the rest of the series. Please be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss the rest of this, and enjoy the rest of your day.